There we go. How you all doing? Yeah, welcome Karen. You will find a link to the reference in the community chat tab of the channel. So if you go there, go down, you'll find a link, and the reference is hosted on my website. Happy Monday, everyone. Hope you all had a wonderful weekend. I had a lovely weekend. It was my birthday, so I did birthday stuff on Saturday. Had a very lazy day yesterday. Yeah, recharged, ready for some serious drawing today. We're going to follow on from what we did on Thursday, which was we'll do some quicker poses, but we're going to really dig into a couple of longer poses. We're going to pull out the powdered charcoal and hopefully get some nice tonal drawings done, and they will be longer poses. Thank you, Donna. Always appreciate a tech check. I was just reading the comments. I saw James, you were saying the crowds are supposed to be bad, so I'm staying home and catching it here. You're talking about the eclipse, of course. What crowds? Is it not just a case of looking up? How would there be crowds for that? Would you not all not look up from where you are? I don't know. Enlighten me. Thanks, Margot. Appreciate it. Anyway, for all of you who take off to go look at the eclipse, shame on you. I kid. I jest. I have no idea when it'll be, so when I see the chat die, I'll assume you're all looking at the eclipse. All right. Enough chatter. Let's draw. We will start. Lovely pose this. We drew this model once before, about, I'd say probably about 6 months ago. But some really lovely ideas with her, and I think some really interesting poses. This should be a bit of fun. For totality, I would need to travel a bit. The roads are jammed. That's okay. You don't need totality. Nothing in life is perfect. Hundreds of thousands of people have traveled to all places in the path of totality, Richard. They're predicting massive traffic jams, fuel and food shortages. Crazy. Okay, well, there you go. You live and learn. I think I may have seen an eclipse once. Okay. Bit overrated in my opinion, but there you go. Just how I feel about it. Okay. I'm gonna upset all the eclipse fans. I can't find the reference. Karen, as I said, if you go to my channel page, there should be a tab called Community. If you click on that, the first post down, I think it's the first post. Let me check. The first post down should be a link to the reference on my channel. I'm just looking now myself. Community. Bingo. There it is, from 7 days ago. The reference page for April can be found here, and there is a link to my website. Take another look there, Karen. It's all right. Don't worry about it. That's where you'll find the reference, and then you'll pop to my page on my website, and you'll see the reference that we're working from. Okay. All right. So many tourists here in the desert, says Yoga. All right. Super crowded. Well, I guess it's good for local businesses. Cool. I'm going to start the clock. Oh, I didn't say how long, did I? I'm going to say a minimum 15, although this could go 20. I'm going to try and draw the whole thing, because I think a pose like this really does kind of benefit from the whole figure being on the page. This leg coming ever so slightly towards us, right? Very, very slightly. This is too long. But I'm going to leave it for now because I just want to get in a few other things before I commit to any large measurement. I think this is probably good. All right, iliac crest. We can see, look at the way that the torso really pulls in this direction, right to the where the aces is, essentially, right at this point here. So we know our iliac crest is kind of doing that. Let's get in the center line for the spine. Yeah, good question, Margot. Karen, if you're on a tablet, you have to do something different. Margot can enlighten you. Because I forget. Okay. Scapula, sitting about here. Margot, what does Karen need to do on a tablet again? Worst case scenario, Karen, let me know if you're still having trouble, and I'm gonna have you email me at my email address, and I will send you a link while we do this. This hand is sitting about here. Then we can just see the hand coming across from here over to here. Yeah, this needs to come up to there. And the other leg is going this way. All right. Thank you, Margot. You're a star. Okay. I'm going to put in, well, yeah, let's get that in there. Gluteus. And the tensor fasciae latae, God, it borderline untraceable or unnoticeable, but it is sitting in there. Just going to kind of roughen the rib cage. Sea Perks. That's the nautical version of this website. Okay, dad joke. Working a little bit lighter with my final dark line because I want to get more of a tonal approach into these, and I don't want the dark line to be so black that it competes with the tone in an aggressive way. So I'll let line this, you know, the final line drop in and out here and there too, just to add some texture. Hopefully it'll all make sense towards the end. I need to write down what Margot has told you. Go to the Sea Perks. Never joined my own website, so I don't really know what happens. He says, I hope this is not too light for the camera. I think it's showing up, right? Okay. Calf will be coming around this way and then, yeah, revealing itself right there. Coming down, ankle, down into the foot. Okay. Let's punch up this just a little bit. It's a great pose, isn't it? Yeah. I agree very much. Great model. Okay, I'm going to start thinking about light and tone. Where are we at? 12 minutes already. Yikes. Which fine art school did you go to? Asks Hemanth. I did not. I didn't go to college. I actually that's a lie. I went to art school, like just you know, local, I guess you call it community college, for 2 weeks. But I was already working in animation. When I was at high school, I was already working for a studio, so I kind of just learned on the job. High school dropout on top of that, so there you go. Me and the academic system, at least how it was prescribed in the 80s in the UK, we weren't a good fit. Let's just put it that way. So I'm sure if you asked my teachers, they would have said, yeah, he is going to be a complete failure in life. Maybe they were right. But I spent more time standing outside the classroom than I did in the classroom. So no, I didn't, yeah, art college was never really a thing. Which is not to say that there's probably not value in it for some people. I think some people just want to get out and get into the world and get experience on the job. And I kind of fell into that category. Thank you, Hemanth. Appreciate it. Such natural talent. Absolutely not, Susan. 100% not. Not natural talent. No. I appreciate the compliment, but no. Hard work. You either have talent or you need to put in jobs and hard work. I fell into that category. Yeah. Okay. I think, will I follow the lighting pattern that's on the model? Yeah, why not? Let's do it. Let's follow it. No, I've always, my whole life, I've suffered incredibly with imposter syndrome. to the point of it being really detrimental to my, probably to my whole life in many ways. But no, and it continues to be a struggle, to be honest. Constantly self-doubting myself and my work. Okay, I'm going to just pop in some core shadows. It's one of the reasons why I do genuinely think to a large degree anyone can learn to draw, because I feel like I was proof of that concept. Although I still very much consider myself a student. I'll always be a student. Okay. The harder you work, the more talented you get. I hope so. I hope so. I think that's hopefully the universe paying back on some level. Persistence, and you'll get something in return. Hopefully. We'll see. Do you apply a dark edge on every edge of the human form, or here and there? Well, I tend to do both types. I will certainly do that as an approach, like, just a tight line throughout the form. But when I'm going for a more tonal approach, I think it's nice to leave things open and let it breathe a little, especially if you tone the background, right? Because then you can blend tone into the form and it feels all a little bit more kind of connected, right? Don't you think all artists do that somewhat? I remember hearing a famous artist asked what was his best painting, and he answered, the next one. Makes sense to me. Yeah, that's actually a nice. That's a nice quote. Yeah, maybe. Well, yeah, I think a little bit of it is actually healthy, right? Nothing worse than someone that's overly sure of themselves, despite their output. I think that there can be a healthy balance. But in my case, I think it has sometimes manifested itself in an unhealthy way. I think it's actually, it's a useful thing to have in the right dosage. But too much of anything is not good, right? Actually, I think I'm going to throw in the tone with the brush here. Let's have a bit of fun, shall we? Let's make a mess. Got my tissue paper. So I'm gonna tear this up now. Okay, let's get in a bit of tone on this. Just having a bit of fun. So I'm gonna apply my powdered charcoal with a brush. I know all of this is going to be in tone essentially, so it's relatively safe proposition. And I'm probably going to tone outside the form on this side a little bit. I don't recommend this if you have white carpets. Not good. Just want to get some material on the page. That's probably good for now. There's no way to stop this from being a mess. Okay. Hopefully be able to pop in a bit of bounce light on this side of the form, the tone side of the form. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's go in now and let's darken some darks a little. We've got a lot of dark going on in here. Punch up a few core shadows here and there. Okay. Hemant, I use newsprint. This is newsprint. This is smooth newsprint. Look, charcoal will stick to just about anything for the most part. Although willow charcoal does not stick to smooth newsprint. For an example, But generally speaking, you know, if charcoal can stick to a paper this smooth, then it's not going to have too much of a problem sticking to a paper with more tooth, right? So yeah, but I only really use newsprint these days because I like it. I find it's quite forgiving for the most part. All right, I'm going to just go in and pull out some lights. Edge of scapula sitting in here. This is very kind of subtle work, but it's kind of necessary. So yeah, I don't generally use an eraser for erasing. I use it for this, for pulling out lights. We do have the hand here, don't we? Should probably draw that in. Okay, where are we at? 28 minutes, yikes. This is the problem, it's so time consuming. But hopefully it's not sending everyone to sleep. Yeah, you see, that's getting too noisy. I think that's all right. That's all right. You know, here's the thing. This is one of those where I could probably go further, but I'm reluctant to. I think I'm going to leave this one here for now. I might come back to it at some point. But I think in the interest of us moving on to the next pose, it's probably not a bad idea to leave it here. See, there's a temptation here to kind of model the tone side of the form because so much is in tone. And it's not necessarily a good strategy. Plus it's so long since I've, you know, the last session was the last time I did this kind of tonal stuff, and truth be told, I'm a little bit out of practice. All right, I'm gonna leave it there. That kind of turned out all right. It's all right, it'll do. What is your advice for me and other artists out there? I'm kind of a beginner and I'm reading this backwards. Watch most of your videos, all right. And other channels. What's your advice? Draw. Just draw. Draw a lot. Draw every day. Get it as part of what you do. That's my advice. Don't wait. for things to be perfect, or like the materials to be perfect, or whatever it might be. Just start drawing. Draw every day. That's my advice. Okay. Join the channel. Come on. There you go, there's my advice. Join the channel, draw with me twice a week, have access to the reference. I know that sounds self-serving, but I think it's a good idea. Thank you. Appreciate it. No, so did you get yourself something for your birthday? Well, I got a puppy 2 weeks ago. No, that was kind of, I won't say it was a birthday present, but let's just say that was all the expenditure for this month. But I had a lovely time, just chilling. Frankly, glad to have reached my 52nd year on this planet. Especially after all the nonsense of last year. It was a time of reflection, truth be told. Okay, I'm moving to landscape mode for this next one. You're welcome. Look, Hamantha, it might seem like a bit trite, the advice I gave, I don't know, but honestly, one of the things I see a lot of people do, they spend their whole lives waiting for conditions to be perfect to do something. You can't, because they'll never be perfect. You'll have days that you're tired. And I'll tell you one thing I learned from being a professional artist, especially working in the studio system as I did, is that you can't, they need you to show up to work and to draw. I'm going to start the clock. I'd say we're probably going to go 25 on this one. They pay you to show up and draw. They don't care whether you're feeling it on any particular day. So you can't get into that frame of mind. I hear people go, oh, I wasn't feeling it, so I didn't do it. Well, that's fine, but then don't be too surprised when you haven't made progress. Draw when you're feeling it, draw when you're not feeling it. Guess what? Some of those biggest and best learning experiences can come from when you're not feeling it. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. I know that might sound like a cliche, but it's absolutely true. You have to make peace with the discomfort that comes from learning something and being out of your comfort zone. And I do think in large part, those that can become successful at things, in large part it's because they embrace the discomfort. And they don't quit when they plateau, because you will plateau. That is inevitable. It's going to happen. So it's not a case of if it happens, it's a case of how are you going to respond to it. You're going to quit? You're going to keep practicing. Plateauing is very, very important. It's actually a sign that you're developing and that you're growing as an artist. It's important to plateau. It's almost confirmation that you have developed and you've grown as an artist when that happens, in my opinion. And be patient with the process. And be kind to yourself with it. Don't beat yourself up. Don't do what I did. Don't live in a constant state of self-doubt if you can avoid it. So our subject is sitting on this box, which is really kind of cool. I'm going to suggest the form of the box, just so we have a little bit of context for why her leg is coming down here, etc. Scapula. The scapula is sitting here. We can get a very nice series of shapes here from the scapula and the latissimus. And you can see the serratus coming off the scapula, right? We talked about this before. The serratus coming off this way and then meeting up with the ribs. Deltoid sitting in there. Okay, so we can see the pectoral coming down this way. Every birthday is such a gift in itself, isn't it? Happy you are 52. Thanks, Marco. Yeah, me too. You know, it's funny. There was a time in my life I'd be like, oh, I'm getting older. And now I feel grateful to be getting older, honestly. Do you still have moments like that? Oh, I'm a little better. Or do you already feel like you've reached the limit of your abilities? A very good question, Camille, but very easily answered. No, I do not feel I've reached the limit of my abilities because I still feel I'm learning. As I said, I still consider myself a student. So whether I've reached the limit of my abilities, time will tell, right? But I'm open to growing and developing as an artist. I hope I haven't reached my limit. And if I have, then that's okay, you know? Like, I've done okay, but I hope I haven't. I continue to work in the spirit that I can grow and I can develop further as an artist. We'll see, I guess. I think if you open yourself, or you leave yourself open to growth and to learning, then there will be the potential for it. And I'm trying to do that. I really am. Because I know I don't know it all. Quite the contrary. I consider myself, you know, maybe I'm not a beginner. You know, the way I kind of think of it, the way I kind of try to frame it is, you know, you can have the person who's at day one, and you can have me. I have just as many questions as the person who's starting day one. The difference is my questions are different. That's the way I look at it. Still have questions, though. don't like these titles like master and, you know, like this type of thing. Because I think it removes the potential for growth on some level. Especially if it's self-proclaimed. That's really dangerous. I see sometimes, you know, every now and then I'll see on somewhere like Instagram where it's clearly the artist themselves who's written the bio, right? And they're like, you know, master artist at this, that, or the other. I know they're trying to ultimately sell a product which is themselves. I do appreciate that. But stop. Stop. It's enough. It's enough nonsense. Oh, I'm sure you probably heard that. That's Trouble right there. Our new puppy, who is doing fantastically. She's Trouble in the best possible way, but Trouble nonetheless. Okay. Who is your mentor, an artist that you like? Hemant coming with all the questions, which is great, by the way. Don't take that in the wrong way. Who is my mentor? I can't speak to one individual that I could say is a mentor or a teacher. I've had many over the years. Some are artists I've worked with. Some are people I've taken quote unquote classes with. But I feel like I've learned from I haven't, like, you know, studied art with one person on an ongoing basis. I would say that my study is the accumulation of many different situations and different people. So that's really kind of a hard question to answer. Because, you know, you could mention one person, but there's inevitably going to be someone who's had a really profound impact on my work that you wouldn't want to not give them credit. What's the puppy's name? Well, that's a good question, because we have a name. Right now her name is Penny, but I'm more inclined to call her Bitey. So I don't know if Penny's going to stick. Also, I'm not 100% sold on it as a name. I think it's okay. It feels like it's the obvious choice, and I feel like there's probably a better name. Just makes me happy that art learning will never end. It's pure joy. Yeah, I think so too. Lumra says, I want to one day draw as good as you, but I'm scared of women. Well, you don't need, well, there's a lot to consider there, but then draw men until you get comfortable with drawing. You know, draw animals, draw houses. Lots of things you can draw. You don't have to be a figurative artist if that's not for you, you know? I keep messing up on inner thighs. Got any advice? Asks Young. Inner thighs. It would really depend on the pose and the angle, to be honest, because that's quite a specific area to be asking about, so you must have something in mind. If you can give me a slightly larger sense of what it is that you're thinking, and I'll see if I can give you some advice. Jaeger says, did you learn about anatomy in the process or study somewhere? That I can give an answer to, and I can give full credit to, well, essentially give full credit to Carl Ganas, who teaches at the American Animation Institute in Burbank. And Carl taught me an awful lot about figure drawing and the process, of no doubt. And Carl, I took his class on and off over the years, especially when I was out of work. I would, you know, the Animation Institute's classes or Union's classes were pretty cheap, relatively speaking, right? So I would, when I wasn't working, I would sit in his classes, sometimes twice a week. And Carl was and is an absolute master of anatomy, and he's a master of this style of drawing and this process. And so Carl would do long form demos during the class, like, you know, sometimes 45 minutes, an hour demos for different body parts. And that, I would have to say, is where not only did I learn anatomy, but I learned the application of anatomy. Because I do believe, really do believe strongly that it's not just about understanding anatomy, right? Like, and I know that you know this, Jaeger, but it's about how we make choices on how we apply those ideas. He certainly helped give, you know, steer and give clarity on at least what that meant for him. You know, I would hope I brought some of myself to that conversation as well. You know, my own experience, but I would have to credit Carl in a huge way. Yeah, so hopefully that answers that. But in saying that, what he did also was inspire me to be curious myself and to study myself. So I would take my anatomy books, or I would take my anatomy books at the time, and I would do like copies of anatomy drawings and that type of thing to just, you know, outside of what he was teaching, to kind of give clarification to what he was teaching and that type of thing. So a lot of that understanding of anatomy was kind of a twofold process. Another person who most people will not have heard of, but if I had to give credit to as far as being what we would consider a teacher, it was a supervising animator I worked with at DreamWorks, a gentleman by the name of Sergei Kushnarov. And Sergei is, in my mind, one of the best, even though he doesn't get nearly the acclaim he deserves because he doesn't seek it. But in my mind, Sergei is arguably one of the best traditional 2D animators who's ever lived. And I was very fortunate to work with him on a couple of films. And he really, to be honest, he really put me through the ringer. There were times where it was really tough, but he was uncompromising in his brilliance and in his expectation from you as someone that I was, you know, his assistant, so to speak. And Sergei really instilled a lot of ideas as far as how to approach drawing and that I use to this day. So if I have to create a short list, those are the two people that I'm giving a large bulk of the credit to. Both brilliant in their own right. Quite different artists in many ways, but yeah. The other thing, another term that I see occasionally in people's bios that really irks me is when someone says self-taught. I don't think there's any such thing as self-taught. And I think that includes, even if you've never been to an art class, to say you're self-taught, I think is completely it's just disingenuous, if nothing else. And it shows a level of ego to me, which really makes me uncomfortable, because there is no such thing as self-taught. We are all influenced heavily by the people that have come before us. So just because you didn't take a class with someone doesn't mean that you didn't learn from them on some level. So yeah, that's just my feeling. And look, maybe I'm being pedantic and maybe people don't agree with me, but I hate that term self-taught. Unless you've grown up on the moon and you've never been exposed to art on Earth, there is no such thing as self-taught. I hate that term. So there you go. Could call her burnt sienna. I like that, Margot. Got any advice for drawing facing thighs? All right, so now we're getting somewhere. Yeah, I will give you an advice. Young, let me finish this drawing, and I'll talk just a couple of minutes on the thigh and the leg, because I do have, well, it'll be boring for the people that are regulars to this stream, but it'll point you in the right direction. Now I just need to not forget that I'm going to do that for you. Fez, love the regular streams. Awesome. Will you do portraits sometime? Probably not, Fez. I'm not a portraitist, if that's a word. I tend to, I don't put a lot of faces in my work. So I don't think I have some ideas on the subject, but I don't think I'm qualified to teach it. to be honest. Which is harder, face or body figure? Completely, I really do consider them to be different disciplines to a very large degree. So I don't think it's a case of harder. I think it's both present incredible challenges. Yeah, exactly, Margot. Of course they're influenced. It irks me. There you go. Just irks me. To have the arrogance to say you're self-taught is quite astounding. Ironically, the kind of person that probably won't learn. Anyway, I'll stop talking about that. Get off my soapbox. So obviously I'm using a slightly different technique here for building in the tone. It's a little bit more controlled, you could say, than throwing down the powder. Interesting pocket of tone shadow here where the rib cage turns away from the light and it comes down this way. I like it. Where are we at? 25. Wow, these are long, aren't they? Oh well. It is what it is. I never thought of it as arrogant per se. It just seems like maybe they wouldn't want to list the workshops. Yeah, but then say nothing, Margot, right? By saying I'm self-taught, you're making a statement. You're saying something opposite of that. I'd rather see nothing. Just give me no bio. To say you're self-taught, to me, it's a statement in its own right. It's basically saying, I am good enough to have just, learned without guidance and learned to just, this stuff has just materialized. It's just nonsense. It's just a terrible use of language. Hemant asks, what is your hobby other than being an artist? Sorry for so many questions. Don't apologize. I would say my main other hobby is music. I study North Indian classical music, Hindustani music, primarily two instruments, one called tabla, which is a percussion instrument, and another called sarod, which is a melodic instrument. And they've been two passions of my life for, well, especially tabla. I started playing that instrument in the early 90s. And sarod in the late 90s I started studying. And those have been, well, the music itself has been a constant in my life since that time. Haven't always been very, you know, constantly practiced, but I've had periods of intense practice in both of those areas. It tends to ebb and flow, right, depending on what's going on in any particular month, year. But they are constants in my life. And I would actually have to say it's through the music that I learnt I met my first great teachers, and frankly learnt that maybe I'm not an idiot. Maybe what needed to happen is I needed to learn that there is a way to learn something, if that makes any sense at all. Hopefully it does. Because it's one thing that we don't seem to teach, or at least to us that don't grow up in academic families, is that there's a way to learn a subject. And through good teachers, you learn how to learn. And that's something the music gave me before the art even. Even though I was working in animation, I wouldn't say at that point I had met the great teachers that would come into my life till later. But the music made me realize, okay, it's not just me. Maybe I'm not stupid. Maybe there is actually just a lot of bad teachers out there. And yeah, I do believe that. So there you go. I'm kind of tempted to leave this one there. 30 minutes. Feels like a logical place to call it, right? How about people who make videos titled Secrets of the Masters or Secrets on Painting Hands? Why do they only know the secrets? Because secrets get clicks, Linda. That's why. It's really simple as that. Another thing that I really can't, while we're at it, while we're ranting, another thing I can't stand is people that hold back information. And you see it a lot. You see it an awful lot. They'll teach to a point and then they'll be like, oh, I'll teach you everything you know, but not everything I know. Those people need punching in the face. Essentially, I can't stand that philosophy. It's gatekeeping at its worst. My philosophy comes from my teachers, which is, I would teach you as much as you can handle. As much as you have an appetite for. It's yours, the information's yours. But I do think that in saying all of that, I think that there is an effort required on the part of the pupil to ask the right questions. It shouldn't just be about the teacher giving the right information. The student needs to take responsibility to ask the right questions. Now, what's the right question, you might ask? That comes back to learning how to learn. But that secrets thing, look, it's not for me. There'll be no secrets here. I'll teach you anything I know. There's no barrier. I'm going to put on my bio, says Margaret, that was influenced greatly by Richard Smythe. Oh, that's so lovely. Thank you, Margaret. That makes me very proud. Thank you, that's awesome. Jaeger asks, did you learn tabla from Tarnath? There is a famous tabla player and teacher whose name was Tarnath Rao. Tarnath was one of the great teachers who taught at Cal Arts in California, in Los Angeles. And to answer your question, Jaeger, no, I didn't study with him. I studied with Leonis primarily. Sorry, guys, Jaeger knows this world, and so this is a bit of a sidebar. But no, I studied my first 5 years of tabla with Leonis, and then I switched to Sarod, and I studied with Rajiv Tarana, another Tarana. Okay, maybe sometimes try South Indian instruments. Here's the thing, Hemant, South Indian music, in my opinion, is a very different music system to North Indian classical. Obviously there's some crossover, but there's less than you might think. And you know, I don't know this as from personal experience, but I was actually just the other day I was reading about the amount of gatekeeping there is in South Indian music, which I thought was very interesting, and that it's much more kind of kept within families than Hindustani classical music. So I have a hard time imagining that I'll have time to study Carnatic music. It's such a big subject, and I've only got this one lifetime. You never know. You never know. Okay, let's do the next pose. Yeah, South Indian is very different. Wonderful in its own right. I don't know, I know very little about it. For someone who's been studying North Indian music for 30 years, I know very little about South Indian music. Probably an embarrassingly little amount, to be honest. Well, we're at an hour and 15 already, and we've done 2 poses. All right, well, this is the way it's going to be today. But what, just heads up, what we'll probably do is, this is the pose, this third pose, this was the one that really intrigued me. I'm curious what we can do with this. Even though it's a rather quiet pose, it's, I think it's got a lot to offer. So let's see, I think this one's going to be 25-ish, probably, all said and done, and then we'll probably hit some quick fire poses at the end. I hope there is reincarnation. I definitely need another lifetime to learn all these things. Margot, yeah, one lifetime does seem rather cruel, doesn't it? As far as trying to take it all in. Okay, we will, I see milk in that tea. Of course you do. Ah, Lulu, what's up? Yes, of course you see milk in my tea. What do you think I am? Come on, there, milk. And a tea bag you can see floating in there. We are having a smashing good day, thanks, Lulu. Yeah, well, I am. I'm enjoying this stream very much. Oh, forget to draw thighs. Thank you. Yes, let's talk about this real quickly. Okay, so hopefully this will help. Hemanth. Sorry, I keep pronouncing that wrong. I keep seeing the ANTH of your name, and it's throwing me to want to say Hemnath. Is that, where is your name from, Hemanth? I'm curious. Okay, thighs. Torso, lower torso. Aces. What does this have to do with the thighs, you ask? Well, I need to attach them to something. inguinal ligament coming down to the pubic bone. Leg. Okay. So, the leg is going to attach here, something like that. Knee is going to be about here, coming down to the ankle, and so on. So what it really comes down to, tibia coming down like so, something like that. As I said, up here we have the ACES, right? The belt line, all important belt line. This is probably, in my mind, the most important landmark of the lower torso from the front. Why do I want to know that? Because it's going to help with the inner thigh. So from here, there is the longest muscle in the body. It attaches at the ACES, called the sartorius. And the sartorius comes down in this direction and attaches at the side of the leg here. Now, we don't see it like that, coming all the way down, but it does. It's a belt-like muscle, right? Coming down this way, like this. What does that do? Well, it helps subdivide the inner thigh, which is this area, from what is essentially the quadriceps, right? We've got rectus femoris coming down this way, attaching down here, something like this. And then we've got the other, we've got tensor fasciae latae coming off this way, etc., right? Sitting in there. The sartorius is important because it does this subdivision. So now I can start thinking, okay, I've got this coming down this way, coming down like so. Imagine we're looking at this, imagine this is foreshortened, doing something like this, right? Sartorius is coming down this way. What it's doing, imagine this is something like that. So if we draw topography lines on here, they're doing something like this, right? That's because of this sartorius muscle coming down this way, attaching at the knee, etc. So when you're drawing, always in your mind or otherwise, draw this line coming down. Now, you may not see it in every drawing, but you're gonna sense it because light. So if we had a light source coming from this direction, for example, this is going to very likely be a core shadow. Then we're probably going to have another pocket of light in here, and then another core shadow sitting in here, right? If we're just going with a conceptual light model. So this will be in tone, because the sartorius is working as a divider. It's doing this, right? So if you can connect from here down to here, or from here to here, then you've subdivided the form, and it's going to help bring structure and good times to your inner thigh. All right? Think of this. It's all down to the sartorius. Now, you may only see the sartorius. You may get a hint of it, like here, and maybe there's a hint here. And this whole inner section, you might go, I can't see it at all. Yes, but you can feel it. You can feel its presence, and the light will still react to it. Thus, you're able to control what the inner thigh is from the outer thigh. Or not from the outer thigh, from the outer part of the leg. Okay. You're from Tamil Nadu. Okay. That would explain it. Hemant. Thanks for telling me. Cool. Oh, Hamonth? Hamonth? Am I saying that right? Hamonth? refinement. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, man. Or man or woman, I have no idea. I'm assuming you're a guy, but maybe I shouldn't. Young, best teacher I ever had. Who? I appreciate it, thank you. Does that help, yeah? Good. All right, let's get back to the pose. Young, if you want to know more about that, I go into it in more detail, or, well, maybe the same amount of detail in fairness, but check out my figure drawing fundamentals video. I talk about the sartorius of the whole thing. So basically draw sartorius and the rest of the thigh. Draw the sartorius and the thigh will draw itself. How about that, Lulu? All right, let's draw. Got a beautiful axis on this shoulder line coming this way. Look at the shape from her rib cage down, coming down this way, and then the direction change, yeah, about here. Absolutely fantastic. You see, this is why I love figure drawing. It never fails to deliver just beautiful ideas for design. Now, whether we can do justice to those ideas is a completely different question. Okay. Hemont. I'm going to just call you Hemont, okay? And if I'm pronouncing it wrong, I'm really sorry. I have watched it. It is just the front-facing positions that mess with me. Well, hopefully that gave you, hopefully that helped, Young. Okay. I'm going to find this center line. Okay, this is really interesting. For those of you following along, look at the way that the spine kind of comes down this way, but look at the way the subdivision here between this volume and this, and how these two kind of relate to each other. Just kind of, you know, like positive, negative shape kind of energy coming down. Something like that. Iliac crest. Let's find. So, sartorius? Not sartorius. He's got sartorius on the brain now. Sacrum. Sacrum's there. Iliac crest is coming up this way. Something like that. But this is really going away from us, right? Interesting. Lovely. And yeah, you can see that beautiful angle of the rib cage. It goes in, you can almost get the sense of that, right? That volume of the rib cage doing that. Beautiful stuff. Sorry, just jumping around. Continue my conversation with Jaeger. I didn't know that you you studied with Leonis. He was one of your first tablet teachers. That's awesome. Ah, Leonis. I miss Leonis. Haven't spoken to him in a long time. Hope he's well. If you happen to see him, please give him my regards, Jaeger. Great teacher. Talk about encyclopedic knowledge of a subject. Yeah, good stuff. So we've got the oblique kind of very lightly suggesting itself there. Okay, so scapula. Sitting here, head of the humerus is here, this arm going out this way but away from us. And then this scapula on this side, kind of sitting in here. Alright, head of this humerus is going down this way. Coming off the pectoral muscle, which is obviously on the other side of the forearm, coming down this way. And then the breast is sitting there. Latissimus, can't see it, but we know it's coming down this way. Same with trapezius. Trapezius is coming up there. It's probably coming down about there, like that. Once again, a subdivider, we know that it's there. So it's useful. It's quite dark in here, but we can get a sense of what's going on. Something like that. Now we got a lovely set of feet to draw here. I will come to that shortly because they're going to be cracking. Another foreshortening on this upper arm. That will do us for now. Do you know how to draw inner leg muscles? Well, I have my own way to draw them, whether it's correct or not. I think in fairness, we've probably done enough demos today. If you catch my drift. Nice, Diego. Encyclopedic he is. Yes, he is. Yeah. Well, yeah, please give him my best when you see him. Just getting in these core shadows, because I think that once again, core shadows can help describe anatomy and form, as we know, but they also, in this case, they play quite an important role in the overall drawing, so I want to get them in sooner rather than later. All right. So look at these feet. All right. We'll come back to that. Speaking of inner leg anatomy, the name Abductor Magnus sounds like some epic sci-fi war chief or something. Well, what about gluteus medius and gluteus maximus especially? Who's gluteus maximus? I feel like he was in Gladiator. I'm pretty sure gluteus maximus was in Gladiator. That's great. All right, let's keep going here. So, in our reference, obviously all of this is in tone. So we do want to make some choices about how we want to describe this stuff. And we've got this lovely complex kind of system in here. So let's bring some clarity to a few things, shall we? It's about time for some clarity. Oh yeah, this is where I realise I've got some of my measurements a bit messed up. But I actually think I can save it, at least to some degree. I'm going to pull my sacrum up to here. Yeah, that should help. Okay. Okay. All right, let's see now. This has actually maybe even helped with my measurements. Because now my heel is in the right place. not going to draw all these toes, but we can suggest them. Oh, sorry, there's conversation happening I didn't know about. I kicked a lot of gluteus maximus, great. Did your parents were artists, and who inspired to be an artist? I'll tell you what inspired me, I think, to be an artist, Hemant, was I grew up in, look, I'm older, right? Have to admit it nowadays. We moved to, when I was a child, we moved to Spain. I think my parents had a sense of it would just be nice to, you know, live somewhere where the weather was better and all of that kind of stuff. We moved to Spain when I was 6. We lived halfway up a mountain, and there was no telly, none of the distractions that you would normally have as a kid my age. And so I had no TV my entire childhood, really. From the ages of 6 to 11, I didn't really have a television because there was 2 Spanish channels. We had a little 6-inch black and white TV, that was it. So I had to entertain myself to a large degree, you know. So I used to draw a lot. And I used to make Airfix model kits. That was one thing that we had access to. I did a lot of Airfix model kits back when I was a kid. And I've got to say, if I have to attribute it to something, my parents weren't artistic really at all. But if I have to attribute it to anything, it was probably the lack of TV and the need to do something with myself, to keep myself occupied as a kid. So, I drew and kind of, you know. We used to do a thing, and I haven't seen it ever since I was a kid. In Spain, we had these, I don't want to draw on this drawing, but we had these toothpicks that were kind of shaped almost like this. I'll draw it maybe when we're done. Oh, here, I'll draw it here, just so you can see what I'm talking about. Because maybe someone knows what the hell this is. They were toothpicks. I'm magnifying this now. But they were essentially shaped like that. But they were about this big. And if you took 5 of them, I think it was 5, you could essentially make a square, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 of them, like this. And the way that you would fold them into each other, they would hold that shape without glue. Just like that. And you would use that, and we would build towers with them. Like you take, you know, you had a big box of them. We'd build these like huge towers with them that you would then like put together with, like, you know, you'd get some like white glue or something like that. It was fascinating. I used to enjoy the hell out of that as a kid. So yeah, there was stuff like that, basically. Sorry, I'm way behind on the chat here, so I'm just catching up. Wouldn't it be fun to have animation with all these fun muscles and they do a dance? You know, I feel like someone's probably done that. There's an anime called Cells at Work, if memory serves, about the inner body, inner workings. Yeah, you know what else there is? There's a fantastic short piece of animation, it's computer animation, done about the Fibonacci sequence. I really should, maybe for the next stream, I'll try and dig up a link to that so you guys can check it out. It's absolutely fascinating and beautifully made. What's the biggest muscle name? TFL or? There's tensor fasciae latae, but that's not the biggest muscle. So the longest muscle is sartorius. Which is the largest muscle? The largest muscle, not group, largest muscle of the body. I wouldn't be surprised if it's actually the gluteus maximus. But I'm guessing, I don't know officially. I'm sure Lulu can spit facts. Tensor fasciae espresso. Nice. Mostly a tendon attached to a tiny muscle. Well, you've got the tensor fasciae latae, which is attached to the iliotibial tract. So I don't know if that's what you're referring to, Lulu. Hola, saludos. Hola, Armando. ¿Cómo estás? All right, I'm getting sidetracked here with reading. Sorry, but I like to keep up. Boredom is painful, especially to a kiddo. Good thing you had kits at least. Yeah. You know what? I wouldn't trade it. It was a weird experience in some ways, but I'm glad we did it. Gluteus maximus is the largest muscle. Thank you, Patricia. It's great having you guys to fact check for me. Gluteus maximus is the largest and stonkest one. Nice, Lulu. All right, let's get some tone into this sucker. You are like a dad speaking to me, says Voy. I love the way you talk. Thank you, Voy. I'll take that. That's a nice thing to say. Okay, we have roughly, we know where our light and tone is going to be. Well, not roughly. Maybe more than roughly. Okay, so this is going to be in tone. Let's get some tone onto this. All right, this pencil's done. All right, this one doesn't need the extender. I'm just going to pop a little core shadow in there. Now we can see her ribs. So this is one of those questions, do we want to show it? Probably not. I feel like they're just going to confuse matters. We'll come back to it. Maybe we'll pop them in. This is all in tone. So I'm actually going to let that be done with the charcoal powder, I think. This is all in tone as well. So what do I want to do here? Maybe we can just kind of hint at some of those ribs without getting into it too much, if you know what I mean. Got that kind of thing going on, right? Bulgarian split squats are probably the most accessible exercise for gluteus maximus while we're on the topic, in case someone wants to work this out. They don't sound like the most accessible exercise for gluteus maximus, but I'll take your word for it, Lulu. Still asking for a big muscle name, guys, not the muscle. Well, hold on. You need to give clarity here, my friend. I'm still asking for a big muscle name, guys, not the muscle. I don't understand the question. For a big muscle name, but not the muscle. I don't get your question. Sorry. Maybe it's me. Probably is me. Usually is me. The problem is, Lulu, all leg exercises suck because they hurt. So I'm going to just take your word for it. Hopefully we'll be able to tidy this up a little bit. He says as he's about to dump charcoal powder onto the drawing. Chai Drink says, why is live chat talking about GIATs? I don't know what GIATs is. Do you mean glutes? Because we're talking about anatomy. Now, I actually want to curve this stuff even here, even though I'm just applying powder. I'm going to hit this with some hard dark cast shadows, I think, so we get this sense of reflected light a little more. That should be enough material to work with. Okay. Gotta go, James. Catch that. Catch that clips. Good luck. James Bond music, quite fitting. I'm actually not sure I want to, but this tool is not going to work as it is. Take care, Margot. Enjoy the eclipse. Karen says, thank you, Richard. See you next time. Do we share our work? Not sure how this works. It was fun. You're more than welcome to. Karen, I will put a link to the Discord channel in the community chat. I'll do it in the morning. And you can go on there and you can post your work. And other people post their work there and people, you know, continue the conversation. So yeah. And I'll see you on Thursday. Okay. All right, I think I'm going to call it there with this one. Don't like those core shadows, they're distracting. Oh, you know what I need to do quickly is just hit it with it. There's a little bit of kneaded eraser here and there. Yeah, the kneaded eraser's a bit of fun, isn't it? It just helps kind of, it brings a texture to it. You can also just, you know, like we talk about the ribs and that here, like we can actually just kind of give a sense of those types of things, even though it doesn't look like ribs. We can give a sense of texture to the form. Something like that. It's a bit of fun. Something like that. All right, I'm going to call it with this one because it's been going on too long. Cool. All right, guys, where are we at? We're at 2 hours already and we've done 3 poses, a new record. When did charcoal smudge get on paper in the first place for the kneaded eraser to work so well? Were you not watching? It was magic. All right. Well, look, we've done 2 hours. We've done 3 poses. We didn't hit. You know what we'll do? just in the interest, because I feel like everyone's abandoned ship. But in the interest of just wrapping things up, tying a bow around things, what we're going to do is we're going to jump to, well, which pose will we do? Okay, I need a quick answer here from someone. We're going to either do the last pose or the second to last pose for the last one. And we're going to skip pose number 4. So we're either going to do pose 5 or pose 6 as like a 5-minute pose. You guys tell me. Yeah, 40 minutes on average. That's what happens when we get into tone, light and tone, right? It gets time consuming. And a lot of chatter. And a lot of kind of, you know, going down these little rabbit holes. All right, first person to tell me is what we're going with. Last, done, Camille, you get it. No, they're both nice poses, so either will do. We will do the last one. It's going to be a 5-minute pose. Kicking pose, says Chai. Too late, Chai. They're both good poses, aren't they? Number 5. All right, you know what we're going to do? We're going to do both of them. We're not going to do pose number 4. That is for you guys to do in your own time. Let's do 5 and 6. We'll do them 5 minutes each. And then we're out of here, okay? So number 5 will give us a chance to put on our gesture hats. And number 6 will be the pose to tie a bow around this session. It's been fun though, right? I think it's been a fun session. Okay, quick sip of tea. Ready? All right, we're not playing around anymore, kids. This is serious business. Some great shapes going on here. They don't get much more actiony poses than this, do they? Actually, let's get this right. And there's our 5. Just like that. Yeah, it's a cool pose, isn't it? Bit of fun. All right. Last pose. And then we will wrap it up. Okay. Nope. Okay. Let me reset the clock. Last pose, folks. Interesting, tricky relationship between the upper and the lower torso here. Obviously the lower torso is really going away from us, but then this leg is coming out this way and down, and this other leg, you can see it up here. You can really see in effect that sartorius coming in here, connecting at the side of the leg there. It's very clear in the reference, which is not, as I said, is not that often that you can see it with such a clarity. The sartorius tends to be quite shy in the way that it will reveal itself. Yeah, this is all a bit of a mess, so hopefully I'll have time to give it some clarity. I hope you guys are enjoying the longer pose kind of sessions. You know, we'll make time for gesture sessions too and all the other good stuff, but it has been nice to kind of just push a little bit with bringing tone into the drawings. So I hope you guys are enjoying that. All right, let's just try and bring a little bit of clarity into what we're seeing here. So oblique coming down this way. Yeah, there's our time almost up. You know what, it's not finished by any stretch, but I kind of got what I wanted to out of the pose for the most part. Anyway. Oh, let's just get a sense that there is actually a foot here. That is a wrap. Guys, what can I say? Yeah, I agree, Lou. Like, it's fun, right? Like, look, we're mixing it up. You know, some weeks we tend to go a little bit quicker. I think the last few months we've been slowing down a little bit with the odd quick session. We did do a gesture session though, what was it, last week? I think. Anyway, look, we're mixing it up, trying to keep things interesting for everyone, right? Including myself. And I'm enjoying throwing down some charcoal powder. It's messy, but a bit of fun. With that said, guys, just so you know, I don't know if I mentioned it already. You'll have to apologize the shameless plug, but I am selling my drawings. You will find a link in the description to my Etsy page. So, and there will be lots more going on there in the coming days. That's just like the first batch, let's say. So yeah, if you fancy buying an original drawing, go check out the Etsy page. And with that said, we will meet again on Thursday. What can I say? Not sure what we will do yet. You know, most likely a male model. I don't even, you know what's kind of nice actually, especially if we do gesture sessions, is to do like maybe 2 or 3 male, 2 or 3 female in the one session. If it's gesture, you know, could be a bit of fun. Anyway, regardless, take care. If you're off to see the eclipse, don't burn out your retinas. You know the drill. And do me a favor, hit the like button on your way out if you wouldn't mind. Only if you enjoyed it. If you didn't enjoy it, be sure to hit the dislike button. And I'll see you all on Thursday. Take care of yourselves, guys. Cheers. Bye now.